Cheers, guys. Today I got my water, just plain water, staying hydrated. And in today's video, I'm going to do a little light reading from Joseph Murphy. If you're familiar with Joseph Murphy, then that's great. If not, just to give you a quick intro, both him and Neville Goddard were students of Abdullah, who was a Jewish rabbi, taught them about Kabbalah, and really influenced a lot of their ideas. And also, point to bring up is that both Joseph and Neville were from the school of New Thought. There's a lot of New Thought authors. Florence Scovel is one of them. There's a lot of them. Wallace D. Wattles. I've done a reading from As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, which maybe I'll link up here so you can check that out as well. They all kind of talk about the same things. And sometimes it can be helpful to hear these things spoken from a different perspective. In this case, we're going to go with Joseph Murphy, because I think he will actually, although Neville has gained the most popularity with these teachings about manifestation, law of assumption, all this, sometimes hearing them from, in this case, Joseph Murphy, will actually help us to understand Neville's ideas better and really what he was really getting at. Because there's a lot of confusion, people on Reddit, there's all these words that get tossed around now about getting people to conform and things. And I mentioned in a previous video that ideas of persist, when you think about the idea of persisting, if you look the word up, it automatically contains this kind of strident, obstinate approach. And we're going to get into this idea of relaxation, the letting go approach, the patient and compassionate approach that you want to have with yourself, that's really going to get these things working for you, and not taking such a dogmatic approach where it's like it has to be this way or that way. You can take a progressive approach. And another thing to point out is my book shows you exactly how to do this. The things that we're going to be covering here in The Miracle Powers for Infinite Riches. Joseph Murphy speaks like I do in a progressive, process-oriented approach, much like many of the New Thought teachers. Not to say that I'm saying that Neville's wrong. The whole idea of living in the end or living from the end, that's great if that works. However, if you're getting resistance from those ideas, sometimes it's easier to be like, things are happening. This is getting easier and easier for me. And having that sense of inevitability. So without further delay. The last thing I'm going to say is the intro is this also touches upon how when Neville says, acknowledge your divine nature, acknowledge the I am, those things, they're all talking about allowing this sort of this awareness mode, this observer mode, and really allowing this divine energy, the source energy that we all come from, to guide us in a way that brings about and will allow us to manifest these goals much more effortlessly than, again, the strident, straining type of approach. So let go and permit the infinite riches of the infinite one to open up new doors for you. Let wonders happen in your life. This whole idea is like about allowing it, right? It's not about trying to make things happen, but when you get that sense of allowing your good to flow to you, that is what we're going for. So in prayer therapy, avoid struggle and strain. Don't try to force things. How could you add power to omnipotence? Can you make your seed grow? You can't. Plant it in the ground, it will grow. The oak is in the acorn. The apple is in the apple seed. The archetype or pattern is there, but you must deposit it in the soil where it dies, undergoes dissolution, bequeaths its energy to another form of itself. That is like what Neville talks about when he says dying to the old man. You bequeath your energy so that you can take on a new pattern or archetype. Spiritual-minded man, he looks at an acorn, he sees a forest. Yes, that's the way your subconscious works. It magnifies your good exceedingly. So avoid strain, since this attitude is indicative of your unbelief. If you're worrying and fearful and anxious, well, that inhibits your good. That brings about blocks and delays and impediments in your life. What does fear do? That which I greatly feared has come upon me. Reverse it. That which I greatly love comes into my experience. Love is emotional attachment, and your subconscious is all the wisdom and power necessary to solve any problem. Your conscious mind is prone to look at external conditions and tends to continually struggle and resist. Remember, however, it is the quiet mind that gets things done. Quiet your body periodically and tell it to be still and relax. It has to obey you. Your body moves as moved upon. Your body acts as acted upon. Your body has no self-conscious intelligence or volition, no will. It moves as moved upon. You can play a melody of God on your body when your conscious mind is quiet and receptive. The wisdom of your subconscious rises to the surface and you receive your solution. A beauty parlor operator told me that the secret of her success was that every morning prior to opening her beauty salon, she had a quiet period in which she affirms. And within this, there are some success stories included, which you will see. God's peace fills my soul, and God's love saturates my whole being. God guides, prospers, and inspires me. I am illumined from on high, and his healing love flows from me to all my clients. Divine love comes in my door. Divine love goes out my door. All those who come into my salon are blessed, healed, and inspired. The infinite healing presence saturates the whole place. This is the day the Lord hath made, and I rejoice and give thanks for the countless blessings which come to my clients and myself. That is a presupposition right there. You're giving thanks for the countless blessings that are flowing to you and your clients, you and the people in your life. She had this prayer written out on a card and reiterates these truths every morning. At night, she gives thanks for all her clients, claiming that they're guided, prospered, happy, and harmonious, and that God and his love flow through each one, filling up all the empty vessels in her life. She stated to me that following this prayer technique pattern, at the end of 3 months, she had far more clients than she could handle, had to hire 3 additional operators, and she had discovered the riches of effective prayer and is prospering beyond her fondest dreams. The sales manager told me that he had been fired because of excessive drinking on the job and because of being involved with one of the secretaries in the office. He was very distressed and dejected and worried about his wife, his income, and his future. In talking with his wife later, I discovered that she was a chronic nagger and had tried unsuccessfully to dominate and control her husband. She was abnormally jealous and very possessive, and she clocked him in every evening, creating a scene if he were not home at a certain hour. He was emotionally and spiritually immature and did not handle the matter at all constructively. He deeply resented her nagging and clocking of his arrival at home and retaliated by drinking and becoming involved with another woman. He said to me, I just wanted to get even with her. Both of them agreed it takes 2 to make a go of marriage. It takes 2 to prosper. If a husband and wife will agree in prosperity and success, agreement means harmony, they will prosper. They'll have all the money they need to do what they want to do and when they want to do it. Both of them agreed to start a prayer process night and morning, realizing that as they prayed for each other, there could not possibly be any bitterness, hostility, or resentment, as divine love cast out everything unlike itself. She prayed night and morning as follows. My husband is God's man. God is guiding him to his true place. What he is seeking him. Divine love fills his soul. Divine peace fills his mind and heart. He is prospered in all his ways, spiritually, mentally, financially, socially. Everywhere, by day and by night, he's advancing, moving forward, and growing spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, intellectually, in all ways, for life itself is growth. There are harmony, peace, love, and understanding between us. It is divine right action and divine peace operating in our lives. He prayed for his wife night and morning as follows. My wife is God's child. She is the daughter of the infinite, a child of eternity. Divine love fills her soul, and it is written, He careth for her. Divine love, peace, harmony, and joy flow through her at all times. She's divinely guided and prospered in all her ways, for to prosper is to grow along all lines. There are harmony, peace, love, and understanding between us. I salute the divinity in her, and she salutes the divinity in me. As both of them became relaxed and peaceful about the situation, they realized that only good can come out of this situation. Soon he received a phone call from the president of the company calling him back, stating that he had heard he had had a reconciliation with his wife. And at the same time, he praised him for his past achievements and accomplishments for the organization. Actually, his wife, without his knowledge, had visited the president of the company and had told him the whole story, how happy they now were, how the other woman had now vanished out of his life, and she told how they were now praying together. He was impressed, and she and her husband discovered very quickly the riches of scientific prayer. For the riches of the infinite are within you. You can know if you have succeeded in prayer by the way you feel. If you remain worried or anxious, if you're wondering how, when, and where, or through what source your answer will come, you are meddling. This indicates you do not really trust the wisdom of your subconscious. Avoid nagging yourself all day long, or even from time to time. When you think of your desire, lightness of touch is important. Remind yourself that infinite intelligence has taken care of it in divine order far better than you can by tenseness of your conscious mind. For example, if you say, well, I need 5,000 by the 15th of next month, or the judge must make a decision for me by the 1st of the month, otherwise I lose my home, my mortgage, and so on, that's fear and anxiety and tension that will bring blocks, delays, impediments, and difficulties into your life. Always go to the source. Remember, in peace and in confidence shall be your strength. When you're anxious, tense, and worried, that will not bring about prosperity or peace of mind or health or anything. Go back to the source. Come to a place of absolute rest in your mind and say to yourself, reiterate these truths. It is done unto me as I believe. Go thy way, and hast believed, and so it be done unto thee. All things be ready if they be mine. The light of God shines in me. The peace of the everlasting God fills my soul, and quietness and confidence shall be my strength. God gave me richly all things to enjoy. With God, all things are possible. Reiterate these simple truths. When I call upon him and he answers me, he'll be with me in trouble. He'll set me on high because he knows my name. Read a psalm like the 23rd or 91st Psalm and go over these quietly, peacefully, and lovingly. You'll get to a point of rest and peace in your mind. And you realize that God is never late, that God is your instant and everlasting supply, guiding and directing you, revealing to you everything you need to know, opening up the door for you, revealing to you the solution. And God's riches are circulating in your life, and there's always a surplus. When you act with that attitude of mind, the way will open up, the dawn will appear, and the shadows will flee away. But you won't get an answer by worry, fear, and anxiety and tension. This will only attract more lack, more difficulties. So reverse it and go back to the source. Reiterate the truths you know. Dwell upon the truths of God, such as God is absolute peace, absolute harmony, boundless wisdom, infinite intelligence, the ever-living one, the all-wise one, the all-knowing, the all-self-renewing one, knows all and sees all, the source of all blessings. That will quiet your mind and will give you peace, and a mind at peace always gets an answer, for in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Learn to let go and relax. Do not give power to external conditions. Give power, allegiance to the infinite intelligence, to the infinite presence, and power within you. The swimming instructor tells you that you can float on the water, which will support you if you remain quiet, still, and at peace. But if you get nervous, tense, and fearful, you will sink. When you are seeking wealth, prosperity, success, or a spiritual healing, or anything, feel that you're immersed in the holy omnipresence. Like you feel like you're in an ocean or in a swimming pool, and realize the golden river of life, love, truth, and beauty are flowing through you now. Transform your whole being into the pattern of harmony, love, peace, and abundance. Feel yourself swimming in the ocean of life. The great oneness will restore you. The following meditation will bring many wonderful things into your life. Listen to it and say, these truths are sinking into my subconscious mind. I picture them going from my conscious to my subconscious like seeds I'm depositing in the soil. I know that I'm old-fashioned and I create my own destiny. My faith is in the infinite being which created all things. And my faith in God is my fortune. This means an abiding faith in all things good. I live in the joyous expectancy of the best, and only the best comes to me. I know the harvest I will reap in the future because all my thoughts are God's thoughts, and the power of God is with my thoughts of good. My thoughts are the seeds of goodness, truth, beauty, and abundance. I now place my thoughts of love, joy, peace, success, abundance, and security and goodwill in the garden of my mind. This is God's garden. The glory and beauty of God will be expressed in my life, and I know that my garden will yield an abundant harvest. From this moment forward, I express life, love, and truth. I am radiantly happy and prosperous in all my ways, and God multiplies my good exceedingly. To prosper means to succeed, to thrive, to turn out well. In other words, when you are prospering, you're expanding, growing spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, intellectually. Never be envious or jealous of another person's wealth or promotion or the diamonds or jewels, for that will impoverish you. That would attract lack and limitation to you. Rejoice in their success, in their prosperity, in their wealth, and wish for them greater riches, because what you wish for the other, you're wishing for yourself. For you're the only thinker. What you think about the other, you create in your own mind and body, and experience also in your pocketbook. This is why you rejoice in the success and the prosperity and the millions that others have. In order to truly prosper, it is necessary that you become a channel through which the life principle flows. Freely, harmoniously, joyously, lovingly. I suggest that you establish a definite method of working and thinking, that you practice it regularly and systematically every day. One young man who consulted me had experienced a poverty complex for many years and had received no answers to his prayer. He had prayed for prosperity, but the fear of poverty continuously weighed on his mind, and naturally he attracted more lack and limitation than prosperity. The subconscious mind accepts the dominant of two ideas. Change your mind from belief in poverty, but begin to believe in God's riches, which are all around you. After talking with me, he began to realize that his thought image of wealth produces wealth, and that every thought is creative unless it is neutralized by a counter thought of greater intensity. Furthermore, he realized that his thought and belief about poverty was greater than his belief in the infinite riches all around him. Consequently, he changed his thoughts and kept them changed. I wrote out a prosperity prayer for him as follows. It will benefit you, I know. This is the prayer. The life principle, the living spirit from which all things flow, it created the universe, and all things are contained, and I am the focal point of the divine presence. My mind is open and receptive. I'm a free-flowing channel for harmony, beauty, guidance, wealth, and the riches of the infinite. I know that wealth, health, and success are released from within and appear on the without. I am now in harmony with the infinite riches within and without, and I know these thoughts are sinking into my subconscious mind and will be reflected on the screen of space. I wish for everyone all the blessings of life. I am open and receptive to the divine riches, spiritual, mental, and material, and they flow to me in avalanches of abundance. This young man focused his thoughts on God's riches rather than on poverty, and made it a special point never to deny what he affirmed. Many people pray for wealth and then they deny it an hour later when they say, I can't afford this, I can't make ends meet. They're making a mockery of their prayer. They're like the man that gets into a taxi in New York and he says he's going to the airport, and on his way says to the driver, take me back to my home, I forgot my passport. So he goes back, on the way again says, I better go back to my club, I forgot my wallet. So he takes him to the club and he says, I forgot some letters at my grandmother's. So he goes off to the grandmother and gives half a dozen directions in half an hour to the taxi driver. Finally, the taxi driver takes him into the police station because he realizes he's mental. Well, now, this is the way millions of people pray, even in the New Thought movement. They give a half a dozen directions to their subconscious mind, and within the hour, the subconscious is so confused and perplexed, it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't do anything, so it results in plain frustration. You don't put a seed in the ground and dig it up. Stop contradicting what you've affirmed. That's the way people pray for prosperity. They're constantly denying what they're affirming, and they're making a mockery of prayer. So this young man focused his thoughts on God's riches rather than poverty, and he stopped saying, I can't afford, or I can't buy that piano, or I can't buy that car. He never used the word can't. Can't is the only devil in the universe. Your subconscious takes you literally and blocks all your good. Now, in a month's time, his whole life is transformed. He affirmed above truths, which I just mentioned, morning and evening, knowing what he was doing, believing that he was actually writing down these truths in his subconscious mind, causing the latter to activate and release its hidden treasures, for the gold mine is in your subconscious. The diamond mine is there. It's the source of all riches of heaven. Although this man had been a salesman for 10 years with rather dim prospects for the future, suddenly he was made sales manager of $30,000 a year plus prime benefits. Your subconscious has ways that you know not of. It's impossible to impregnate your subconscious mind with the idea of wealth and be poor. It's impossible to impregnate your subconscious with the idea of success. Good heavens, you are born to win, to succeed. The infinite can't fail. You're born to triumph. Let your prayer be by day and by night. I'm advancing, moving forward, and growing. God gave me richly all things to enjoy. If your dominant conviction is that you are entitled to all the good things of life, such as health, wealth, love, true expression, and the abundant life, you will experience accordingly. On the other hand, if you feel that you are destined to be poor and that the good things of life are not for you, you are placing yourself in want, lack, frustration, and self-imposed bondage. Remember, your thought has power. It is creative. Every thought you initiate tends to manifest itself, except as it is neutralized by a more powerful thought of greater intensity. All of the men and women who garner more of the world's goods reveal a wealth consciousness and a joyous expectancy of the best. Everything you experience is due to the law of your mind. By dwelling on the idea of increased good, by nourishing it and sustaining it, man draws more of the riches of life to himself. On the other hand, the man who thinks only of decrease, lack, and limitation magnifies his loss. The law of your subconscious is to increase any idea implanted in it. The experience of the negative thinker will attract more and more loss. Begin to practice the law of increase. Remember, any object to which you give special attention to will tend to grow and magnify itself in your life. Attention is the key to life. Think of increase along all lines. Feel you are successful and prosperous, since the feeling of wealth produces wealth. Be sure you wish for all those around you success, happiness, and abundance, knowing that as you wish increase of wealth and happiness for others, you are also attracting more of God's riches to yourself. As you radiate abundance and riches to others, they will pick up your thoughts subconsciously and will be benefited by the feeling of riches and abundance emanating from you. You can silently give to all people you meet the following blessing. God gave you richly all things to enjoy, and you are prospered beyond your fondest dreams. That simple prayer will work wonders in your life. How to use the law of increase in business or professions. As you quietly, lovingly, and feelingly enter into the realization that your thoughts of richness, success, prosperity, and health create all those conditions and circumstances on which you focus your attention, you will automatically create all the conditions necessary for your advancement. Moreover, you will find yourself attracting more and more people who will become clients, customers, friends, and associates, and who will aid you in the realization of your dreams. You will subconsciously attract to yourself the men and women who are living in the consciousness of God's riches. So I didn't want to interrupt it with any of my own kind of takes during the reading, but you can see how many of Neville's ideas are also reflected in the sentiments here from Joseph Murphy. And a couple of things that I wanted to point out with this is that he talks about the law of increase and focusing on that you are constantly experiencing an increase in abundance. You are experiencing more and more joy. You're experiencing more and more success. And that is what I talk about, that is like this progressive approach. He's not being so dogmatic like Neville, where he says you must live from the end. He doesn't use words like getting things to conform. Those ideas that make us think in more rigid terms cause that resistance, and then we're not operating with that backwards law that he talked about at the beginning, that ease. You want more ease about this entire process. And knowing that the more that you tap into your I am presence, source energy, the divinity within you, if you don't resonate with the religious language, which, to be honest, I prefer using terms like source energy or infinite intelligence. Some of the other New Thought authors use those words, like Napoleon Hill uses infinite intelligence, right? Knowing that, that's when you tap in. It's like a water faucet. It's untapped. You stop harboring all this tension, all this inner kinds of resentments. You know, a lot of people in the SP thing really want the SP to conform. But when you think about it, when you come from that approach, it's doing it in this very forceful manner. Whereas you read this success this couple had at the beginning, they're literally looking for the good in each other. They're literally speaking these beautiful kind of sentiments about one another. And that's operating with good faith towards one another. That's operating with goodwill towards one another. Now, what do you think is going to cultivate a healthier, more sustainable relationship over time? Coming from this angle, saying God's peace fills the soul of my wife and or my husband, and speaking those things into existence, or being really focused on getting your person to conform. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and it should be self-evident that the more kind of goodwill, good faith, and positive expectation, and kind of like, you can think about it like you're speaking these blessings towards the people around you. You know, the woman who with the beauty parlor, she's saying that She's saying all these things about people are experiencing blessings when they walk through my salon, and this divine energy flows to them, right? You start speaking in this way, and I mean, the success stories within this, he already went over the successes that these people had. It's going to take root. It's going to get reflected in the 3D. The prayer here, she reiterates this every morning and night. The infinite healing presence saturates this whole place. The countless blessings that come to me and my clients, divine love comes through my door, divine love goes out my door, and all that come into my salon are blessed, healed, and inspired. I mean, these are really powerful ways that you can begin speaking this into reality and affirming that for the people that you come in contact with. And you're going to become magnetic to all the things that you want to attract. And Joseph Murphy, some of the times he will just simply say a word like wealth, success, abundance, which also is, he speaks about the I am. He speaks about saying, I am wealthy, but sometimes just dwelling on wealth. He says, never focus on lack or poverty, right? Because even just the simple dwelling on poverty or lack will attract it. And that's where I disagree as well with the whole, it has to be done from the end idea, because there's a lot of things that people will attract by just fearing that they may occur. They're not saying, I am losing all my money. They're not saying like, I am bankrupt right now. They're saying, oh, like interest rates are increasing and this might be happening and that's happening. And just by dwelling on it, it still works. So the people that say, oh, if you say this will happen, or I am becoming this, that automatically means that you're not in the state of the wish fulfilled. It's a very dogmatic approach that can cause resistance, and it can actually work against you, in my opinion, because a lot of the times your logical mind may have resistance. If you try to keep saying, my SP is here with me right now. Right now, I am married to my SP. Your logical mind may object to that. Now, if you keep saying to yourself, I'm becoming more attractive every day, everybody's loving me more and more, my bank account is growing, my business is booming, my business is growing more and more, everything's becoming easier and easier. It's easier and easier for me to talk to, I'm becoming more and more attractive to my person. They're becoming inspired to reach out to me. Those types of things don't get as much resistance from your logical mind. And in my book, I show you how to do this. I show you exactly. Joseph Murphy speaks in a beautiful way, and I love the language that he uses. However, oftentimes we don't speak in the same language, and maybe we wouldn't be using as many religious terms. So in my book, I show you exactly how to take these ways of speaking that use the process-oriented approach. I'm advancing. He's growing spiritually. This wife was affirming. He's expanding, growing spiritually, mentally, financially, socially, and intellectually. I show you how to use a process-oriented approach so that your subconscious, it takes root in the subconscious. There's no choice but for your subconscious to begin to accept what you're saying. So I hope that you got some value out of this reading. I really like reading other people's stuff. Obviously, everyone talks about Neville Goddard a lot, and Neville Goddard is good. I think that Joseph Murphy is also right up there. He's got a lot of really good stuff. And I probably will do some readings from Florence as well as Wallace D. Wattles, maybe some others. If you guys have other requests, I can go and find some good golden nuggets that I can kind of do some readings for and do some breakdowns and talk about. Because again, I think that assimilating these other ideas into what you've already learned when it comes to law of assumption or manifestation, law of attraction, any of the ideas that you already are kind of familiar with, when you hear these other people speak about it, it's sort of just as like, oh, like now I really get it. Now I'm taking this more relaxed approach. Now I'm allowing this to happen instead of like trying to be making it happen with the forceful kind of approach or with the dogmatic approach that says it has to be a certain way, that live from the end, make them conform, persist, right? So anyways, much love. Drop this with a like, hit me with a subscribe. If you've not done so already, let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.